Well, you know, the Hogan administration made a decision to not support the red line, I think in part, and significantly in part, to their position that we don't need a tunnel underneath the city of Baltimore. You know, that was a significant percentage of the expense of the proposed red line. But there's no question that we need to have better public transportation that goes from West Baltimore to East Baltimore. Because I know, you know, from my years at the Center for Urban Families on Monroe Street, that it is virtually impossible for people in Park Heights to get to those jobs at Amazon or those new jobs down at the new Sparrows Point. So I will be an advocate, and I believe we can get the Hogan administration interested in this. I believe it's the right thing to do, to have a red line that goes from Social Security and dead ends at Lexington Market. Lexington Market being where the subway and the light rail meet, will create the equivalent of New York's Penn Station at Lexington Market, a place where people need to be because they're changing trains. And by doing that, we'll get people from the west side connected to those jobs on the east side. Now, obviously, we need to create a circulator or more public transportation from Hopkins to Bayview down to Sparrows Point. But we can do that as well. We do those two things, and we will change the transportation infrastructure of Baltimore for generations. Well, Oz, to say that there's a little bit of controversy around TIF financing would be the understatement of the morning. You know, I have said to, it's interesting, I met with the biggest developer of Harbor East and his son. And we were talking about me as a pro-business mayor and my agenda and where I wanted to go with this city. And I said two things. First, I said, you know, you can't harvest the fruit of the Inner Harbor if you're not going to plant seeds in East and West Baltimore. I mean, we are all in this together. The legacy of Freddie Gray, if nothing else, is that we're all in this together. And I think the business community has woken up to that fact. I also said to them that in my administration, if you get a TIF, or you get a pilot, you get a rec center. And I looked at them and I said that directly. And it was interesting because they sat back and I thought, boy, this isn't going well at all. And, but then the most interesting thing happened. They both sat forward, and one of them looked at me and said, wow, no one from the mayor's office has ever asked us to do that before. So if you get a TIF, or if you get a pilot, you get a rec center, you get a community school. We need a mayor that ties people together and makes people understand economically, spiritually, and that we are all in this together, that we are going to drive this economy forward by linking tax breaks to things that are important in all of our communities. Well, if you do the map of where the BDC has invested dollars, it's an interesting map because it would suggest what you would think it would suggest, that a lot of that capital has gone to the north-south corridor and around the Inner Harbor. But I think what we need most of all is a mayor that drives the agenda forward, that drives the agenda towards investing our tax dollars, our incentive dollars around our city, and creates a plan to put people to work. I mean, for example, I look at our housing situation in Baltimore as a job opportunity. I created a company called Green Job Works, for example, that's 40% owned by the Center for Urban Families and 60% owned by the management, that has 125 people doing demolition and remediation. When we restored the old 91, Gwynns Falls Middle School, where Green Street Academy is, Green Job Works did the demolition and remediation. I look at the housing situation as an opportunity to put a lot of people to work with lead paint certifications, asbestos certifications, creating jobs by doing what we need to do in this city.